Okay, I think I'm recording. Bear with me. This is my first time doing something like this. Hello, Professor. I hope you're doing good. Hope you're having a nice last day of the term. My name is Jack Bronstein. I'm in Sociology 1010, Intro to Sociology, and this is my presentation on authority. Let's get started. So, as displayed by Max Weber, we have three main types of authority. They are traditional, rational legal, or legal rational. The two terms are interchangeable. Some say tomato, tomato, and charismatic. So first we will talk about traditional authority. This is your run-of-the-mill king or queen, your classic authoritarian monarch that you see in TV shows and in history. An example of this would be Japan in the feudal lord era. They have had a long lineage of shogun and rulers that have bared down from a long line of royal bloodline. So some facts about this type of authority is that the legitimacy of the authority does not matter. This means that it doesn't matter if this leader is fit to rule, I guess. Doesn't matter what their accomplishments are or whether they're right in the head, whether they're mentally stable. They are chosen to rule because of who their mom and dad were. Traditional authority is absolute. This means that, again, you're going to be chosen to be the authority figure just because of which family you were born into. When the king dies, the next king is going to be the prince of that king. And citizens accept this authority without question most of the time in the past, because that's just how things have always been. They never thought of a way to have a democratic authority figure or putting things to a vote at all. It was just, okay, we will be led by this king and the royal family. It was seen as a divine will, that this family was chosen by God to be the rulers of this country. If you've seen the show Game of Thrones, I put a picture of Cersei Lannister here. She is the queen towards the end of the show. The Lannister family is the royal bloodline, chosen by the will of the gods to rule all of the land. Before she was put into authority, it was her husband and then their sons, who eventually, spoiler alert, died. But I think the youngest son to come to kingship was like 10 years old. This really shows how traditional authority does not care about the legitimacy of the authority figure at all. Next, we have rational legal authority. This power is made legitimate by the laws. It's made legitimate by the laws that are written by the people of the land. The authority derives its power from the laws and the regulations of the political systems that have been put in place for as long as that country has been around. For example, our democracy that we live under, we have Mr. President Biden right now, was elected, and they are chosen to uphold the laws for the people, by the people. Max Weber says that leaders are thought to have specific areas of competence and authority, but are not thought to be endowed by divine inspiration. This is contrast to traditional authority in the fact that, we don't think our presidents are given authority by the will of God. We appoint these leaders because we think they have a set skill set that allows them to use their power for good and use the laws for the people. to create a good environment for everyone, to keep everyone happy in their country. Yeah, we'll keep moving. The third one is charismatic authority. These are defined by Max Weber as the power made legitimate by a leader's exceptional personal or emotional appeal to his or her followers. These people, this type of authority is not like the previous two at all. They are not a set in stone authority figure for a specific country. It is more of a leaderhead for a movement. These people are chosen to authority by the people, but not in a lawful way, not on any sort of paper. The people resonate with this leader because of their beliefs and the way that they carry themselves and their personality. We'll give the example of Martin Luther King with the civil rights movement. He was not an appointed official to any terms. He was just a preacher of his hometown, and the people really resonated with him and chose him to be the figurehead of the civil rights movement, and he did a fantastic job. But it wasn't set in any laws, or he didn't have any sort of political power to do anything other than lead that movement. So I give the example of MLK. We have Jesus here depicted, Joan of Arc, Gandhi, Malcolm X, these type of people. So what do I think would be the most efficient form of power? Well, ideally, a rational, legal, and charismatic leader would be the best choice, in my opinion, to be an authority figure. What I mean by this is that I think a person in authority should be rationally and legally appointed to their position through a vote, democratically. Let everyone have their say. This person should be qualified and meet the rules and regulations to have this job. But I do think that a charismatic leader is also very important. So I've shown here a picture of Abraham Lincoln and a very ripped Jesus. Just in the thought that I think that leaders should be well liked by their constituents and their followers. I think that leaders set the example for all the people that are under them, and when a leader is well liked by people, they usually have an easier time going over with their job. So charismatic only in the fact that I think leaders should be liked by their followers, and that it's important to have a following that likes you and trusts you to make the laws for them. So obviously that wasn't the point of the assignment. So in choosing one of the three, I think rational legal is obviously the most efficient form of power. If I had to choose between the three only, the power that they have is limited. It's not totalitarian. They are limited by the written laws that have been in place for, in our case, hundreds of years. They're appointed by the people for whom those laws are made for. So the people, us, choose and vote for what president, for example, we would like to have to uphold those laws for us and create even more better laws to create a more flourishing environment. We appoint these people to have enough power to change the lives of his or her constituents and citizens, but they also have checks and balances in place so that if they were to go too far, we can do something to stop them. It's not, like I said, totalitarian. It's a democracy. We have, everyone has a say. I would like to point out the fact that all the top countries in most aspects all have appointed rational legal leaders. If you have a country that is, you know, authoritarian or totalitarian, most likely their people don't have a lot or any say in what goes on politically for themselves, which is sad, and that leaves them in a worse place, overall in the world. So, like I said, the top countries, like if you were to check the top 10 countries of even GDP or happiness or wealth or overall, most countries have appointed rational legal leaders. So, in conclusion, let's go back over charismatic authority not being necessarily reliable because this leadership isn't passed down to due to the nature of the authority. What I mean by this is that when you have a charismatic leader, for the time that this leader is leading their movement, their people have a great motivation and hold a strong feeling of ethos and pathos with their leader. But if this leader were to step down or die or lose their position in any way, there isn't a system that allows for a person to step in and be that same leader. The people resonate with one specific person, and that is the problem with charismatic authority. Also, in the fact that it's not appointed legally and they have no legal power other than just having a big crowd behind them, a big following. Traditional authority is almost opposite to charismatic authority in the fact that they have a sure following for who will come next. If a king or a monarch is to step down or die, the next person that is going to be the king or monarch is already set in stone. We know it's going to be the son of that leader because of the royal lineage that has been passed on from generation to generation. So they have a set person that is going to be the leader, but it doesn't make that leader any more reliable or trustworthy or fit for the job. That is the takeaway from traditional leaders. You are stuck with whoever you get with, and there's nothing you can do about it. So, case in point, rational legal authority by power of elimination is the most reliable. When we get a leader that is great, that's awesome, and we can re-elect them in our country. We can deal with them for 4 years. If we decide that we want them again, we can have them for another 4 years. We have the power to decide, the power to vote, and if they aren't doing well, if they're throwing our country in the trash, we can easily replace them, put it to a vote. Like I said, these people are held to a higher standard than people of, say, the traditional authority. There are checks and balances in place that limit them from doing things that are going to hurt the country overall. In most cases, obviously some things slip through cracks, but overall, charismatic authority falls down in the face of not having any legal written down power and anyone to take their place. Traditional authority lacks in the fact of choosing who is going to be the leader, whether they are legitimate or not, whether they are fit to be a leader or not. And rational legal authority is the most efficient way to have a leader and authority. And that is the end of my presentation. These are my citations. Thank you for this semester, Professor. I hope you have a great little short break. And let's see if I can figure out how to stop the recording. All right.